I think everybody's been pretty excited about, as Chris was explaining, their experiences of the ability to program on the New Relic One observability platform. And so what I'd love to do is to invite one of our GMs, Mike Weitzel, and Joel Worrall, who's part of our expert services team, who've been intimately involved in working in these nerd hacks and in building out the community for programmability, to talk a little bit about what we're doing to drive that momentum. Thank you. Mike.
Thanks, Roger.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm incredibly excited to be here. We launched, we're live, and I'm humbled to be representing all of the engineers and people that made this happen. So thank you very much. As GM, I'm excited to be joined by a longtime partner in the programmability effort, Joel Worrall. Joel, I think you're in a truly unique position at New Relic. You've been a developer, you've been a customer, and now you work with our customers every day. How has this shaped your view of observability as you go out there and work with our customers?
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. So, and thanks also for a little bit of that introduction. Yeah. So as Mark said, I've been a developer. I mean, I write code on a daily basis right now, and have been a decision maker and a customer of New Relic for 6-7 years. I think I was here actually at the very first FutureStack when Insights was announced. And so bringing all that experience, having the opportunity over the last 18 months to come into the services organization and partner with the product organization. And one of the things I want to highlight is just that I'm grateful to be representing obviously hundreds of people on the product side and the services side that have been focused on bringing this feature to market. And so one of the things we've been highly focused on is what do customers need in programmability? It's great that you can build anything on the platform, but how do we think about what customers are going to need to build? And that's really what we've been able to bring into the experience.
So you're writing code every day.
Yep.
You're innovating, you're imagining things every day. So as a developer, what's the getting started experience here?
Yeah, so I think Lou ran out of time, otherwise he literally would have built an app right in front of you. It really is that easy. So I'd say, so one of the things that drew me to New Relic as a customer originally was I fell in love with the product because I'm that classic use case of had a problem, deployed the agent, my life is amazing now, boy, I love this company, right? And I think there's a lot of that DNA, who we are as a company, that's baked into the developer experience in programmability. So the whole getting started experience, you're in the product, I download the CLI, I deploy it, like a minute later, I'm up and running with my Hello World event, and then interacting with some of the open source projects that we have, that's 2 minutes later, you can potentially have something up and running in your environment. It's awesome to work with, and every time I get a chance to sit down with a customer and start to introduce them to these tools, they're shocked by how quickly they can get up to speed and be really productive with them.
It really shows the passion we have, that love affair with software that we have. So Lou showed several examples earlier today, and it seems like one of the common use cases that we see teams getting started with is to take some of these internal tools that they've built because they don't have a platform and bring them onto New Relic and the new platform. Is that a common pattern that you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Lou's talked a little bit about so how do we close out edge cases as a platform? How do we build something that helps you say yes to your people, right? So when I'm interacting with customers, whether it happens to be a decision maker or an engineering manager, they're all leaders who are trying to do the right thing for the company. They're trying to do the right thing for their teams. So when you encounter a particular use case, a particular tool that you're using, that decision was made with purpose, right? It was there because someone had a problem, they needed a solution, this was a good solution for it. So for us as a platform, what programmability does is it makes it possible for us to be able to say yes to those teams, to bring that experience into the New Relic experience. One of the open source projects that we're releasing today is a great example of that. Lou had mentioned this about the status pages. So I'm in the middle of a firefighting situation, and I need to know what's going on with the systems that are outside of my control, outside of my environment. And so to be able to bring that experience directly into my observability platform, that is just a real delight for an end user, for a developer, for a manager in those situations. And so we get to say yes to that, right? We get to say, here's the tools to be able to build this, or in some cases, here are the tools that others are building. Be a part of the community that's helping make them better.
You know, we talk about how programmability helps you go beyond dashboards. You know, as a developer, as somebody writing that code every day, what does that really mean? Like, what does that really mean to go beyond dashboards?
Yeah. So as technologists, we're all being asked to pay attention to what does the business need? How's the technology that I'm building aligning directly with the business needs, right? So, and obviously the best software, I mean, the best technology decisions happen when the technologist really gets what's going on in the business and takes that extremely seriously in the work that they're doing. So, so what does it mean for us to go beyond dashboards? It's about taking the telemetry data, all this data that we're collecting from either from open systems or from our agents. It's a tremendous amount of data. There's so much wealth in that information. And sometimes that can be overwhelming for the business, right? So how do we take all that data together and then help the customer see their data the way they think about their business? So I'll give you a great example. In the retail space, we could be in a situation where we've got our infrastructure agents are running on the hosts that are delivering particular applications. They're also running on, say, the endpoint devices that are functioning inside a store, or an iPad, a register. There are apps that are running on those devices. There are mobile experiences that are coming into the customer experience of people walking through the door of this store. So that's all this telemetry data, and we need to know how are things going. But the way that business really thinks about their data is about that physical place, right? So all this technology exists to transact business right here. So, okay, what do we do with an observability platform that's programmable? Well, I'm going to take all that data and I'm going to put it on a map, right? So here's the locations where we're actually doing business right now. Here's all the different sources of data that are feeding into how's stuff going right here, right now. And what do I need to do if there is a problem to make business continue to happen in that location? That's what we can do with a programmable platform.
That's absolutely incredible. I think about just the possibilities of new ways for businesses to see their data in ways that we couldn't imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk about the first Future Hack in Chicago. That was incredible.
Yeah.
We survived. Lou says, hey, Mark, I got this great idea. Get people in Chicago, and we're just going on and hacking on. Okay, Lou, right away. Yeah. And so, tell me about, we survived that. We got the applications out, but that was a transformative experience, I think, for both of us. Tell me a little bit about how that felt.
Yeah, okay, so context, 20-some people in a hotel room working on new Relic 1 applications. First of all, like personally, it was one of my favorite weeks of working ever in my career. It was just so cool. But what was fantastic about it was taking a group of people, 20 people, some Relic, some customers, many of whom hadn't been exposed to the platform at all, and moving from almost no engagement with it to functioning code walking out the door. Everyone walked out with something that was working 5 days later. So that's amazing. And that's an experience that we've seen. We've been putting this in the hands of customers, even in the early stages when we had to hotwire computers in order to get somebody up and running, kind of working with something. That experience has been repeated over and over again, the idea of getting up and running really quickly. But then also, what was even more exciting was the collaboration. So here are our New Relic employees and customers working on problems in common. Here's 2 customers that are working on a problem that are relatively similar and sharing and learning from one another. And it just, for us, helped us understand how important it is for us not only to have this platform, but for us to be able to do this kind of development in the open.
I remember that first talk about where we grabbed some laptops and went and see, can people actually go do this, now to the Future Hack. Some of those were some of our partner integrations. Split.io, some of the Vivid Cortex, Launch Darkly was done. Are you imagining that we're going to start to see more partner applications come online?
Yeah, I absolutely do, and I think that's going to come about in two different ways. So you mentioned, so Lou had the announcement about Split. We did some really early work, probably like the very first, before it was a Future Hack. We did a Future Hack at Vivid Cortex back in a cold day in Charlottesville, and in 3 days built an application with them as well. So I think we're going to see that happen where partners, we're going to get the opportunity to interact with partners more who are interested in plugging in the tremendous value that product provides into the entire platform and bring a common experience to our users. But I also think, and this is part of the reason I think it was so awesome to have Cox represented here on stage, some of that partner integration is going to happen just from customers innovating on their own. And just recognizing, look, this tool is really critical to what I do. It's important enough to me from a tooling perspective to bring that experience to my developers. And we hope that we're creating a context where we can be generous with one another and share those innovations and help support it for us as New Relic and for our customers.
And that's really talking about our open source. Lou mentioned that we've got 12 examples going live in GitHub.
Actually, it's 13.
13?
Yeah, so the example that Lou shared on the Container Explorer is also live.
So you're the guy fixing Lou's code?
Yeah, well, I'm one of those guys. So.
Yeah, okay, all right. So how do you see open source really driving some of the innovation that we're doing?
Yeah, we are, it's not an overstatement to say we're doubling down and extremely serious about conducting more of this development out in the open. It's something I know you and I share a passion for open source, a passion for the power of what can happen when people are collaborating. We recognize that everybody's got something unique about their business. They need to be able to define that in their code, but there's also commonality, right? There's a lot of things where we can get better together and innovate together. And so we think doing that work in the open is going to be not only best for us and our customers, but I would even say better for the world, like for us to be able to do that kind of work together in open.
I completely agree, and I'm looking at the room here, and we've got a lot of developers, we've got a lot of technology leaders. How do we tell them to get started right now?
Okay, so getting started right now. You can talk to us over in the Hacker Lounge. There's a bunch of folks over there who'd
bring your notebook.
Love to be able to chat with you. Yeah, go ahead, bring your laptop with you. But then secondly, you could just log in, one.newrelic.com, click on the launcher, that entire getting started experience. If you get bored, you could do it in the next minute, right now, like probably before we're done. And you'll have the CLI installed, engage with a really tremendous developer experience. And then just the next step beyond that, go check out the open source examples. There's 6 that are listed right there in the product. It's one click away to be able to clone it, get it up and running locally, deploy it relatively quickly. So that's what I'd encourage people to do. The other thing is that we're launching a contest, right? So between now and in
November,
what we're doing is looking for people to submit their best idea for another nerd pack, for another one of these observability applications that we're building together. And so there's an opportunity to win some cool swag through that too. So.
Excellent. So we've got lots of time to do that. We have lots of ways to engage. It's incredibly exciting. Thank you again for all your help. Thank you for being that tireless champion of programmability on New Relic One. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.